Hey, Armando, do I need to reshare my screen again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you today to our Coffee Talk. Bienvenidos. My name is Armando Galvan Cruces, and I'm the Student Life Coordinator here at HCC for the Southeast Campus. And I'm extremely excited of being here today with you for this Coffee Talk. I'm going to be moderating the session. And as you all know, as we navigate from this new remote environment that is transforming how we interact with you guys as students, I would like to thank you all for being on this session. Today we're gonna be answering your questions, all your questions that you have today about career and job placement services. Also, this is an information session and only general questions will be responded. And we have a great presenter and I'll be introducing him in a minute. Also, you will be interacting with our amazing HCC staff through our Q&A box. So as you can see, only the Q&A box, it's now available. So it's located on your right-hand side. We will be answering those questions after the brief presentation we're going to have from our presenter. So just a last reminder, all your microphones are going to be muted as the session remains. So now let me just introduce you to Mr. Nathan Rosas, our career service specialist for the Northwest campus. As a student life coordinators, we partner with our colleges' career service centers to provide students with the tools needed for their future in the workspace. So without any more preamble, I'd like to welcome Mr. Nathan Rosas.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here. I'm a services specialist for Houston Community College. So this is a coffee talk. So let's pour yourself a cup of coffee or grab your favorite drink, relax and let's just talk. I'd like to start off with a story, if you don't mind. Just the other day, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. He called just to see how I was doing. Um, he used to be a roommate of mine. We were talking about the good old days, just how, where we started and where we're at now. I remember him having to pour oil in his Nissan Xterra every day because it leaked so much oil. But now he drives $100,000 Mercedes. He's got his own law firm. He's got lawyers working for him and stuff like that. And he actually used to work for me over 20 years ago. We both worked for a liquor company. And he started to ask me, "Hey, do you remember, the liquor company? And how did you get that job? You're a new graduate. You just graduated from Houston Community College." And so I told him, I said, "Well, one of the main reasons, I remember the owner telling me is number one, I sold myself. I didn't try to be someone that I wasn't. And number two, I was a good fit for his business. And that's a good takeaway because it's something that we try to explain to students that to get hired, you have to be a great fit, for the company. And I remember the owner asking me in the interview, what's going to set you apart from from the other candidates that I'm interviewing? And I explained to him that, in preparing for the interview, that I drove all over the city, visiting some of the competition. And I realized one thing, that we weren't going to beat them across the board for all prices. But if we could just beat them on key brands, I believe that we would draw customers in from all over the city. And sure enough, that business grew to one of the largest liquor companies in the world. And so, it kind of brings me to my next slide is,
Hey Nathan, I think you are muted. Something happened with the audio.
oh, there we go. One thing we always tell students is that you really need to do your research and you need to determine what's best for you. So one thing that we do in career services is we do career exploration. Think about this for a moment. Most people aren't going to get an operation without consulting a doctor first. And most people aren't going to buy a house without a realtor or without an inspector. But surprisingly enough, I see a lot of people starting a career without consulting a career specialist. It's important because, whatever career that you choose or whatever major you choose is going to impact the next 50 years of your working life. I mean, how do you even know that job or industry will even exist 20 years from now? Some of the top jobs right now didn't exist 10 years ago. And so, we have data that can show you the job outlooks for pretty much every major, because we want to be able to help you to determine, is this the best field for you? Is this something you're going to enjoy? Is this something you're going to wake up every day and enjoy coming to work? It's important to determine how many jobs are going to be available in the future. We also offer mock interviews. I mean, you want to make that lasting impression. No different than I did with that owner. Again, I just graduated with my associate's degree from HCC in business management, and he didn't want another manager to run his business like Specs, because there was a lot of people from Specs Liquor that were applying for this position. He wanted somebody that was willing to learn, willing to work hard, had that hard work ethic. And when I told him the story that I drove all over the city doing research, I sold him, and I made that impression on him. And of course, a normal interview will ask the greatest strengths, greatest weaknesses, but we can practice with you. We love doing them. We love doing the mock interviews. I think it's a great tool. There's even tools on Career Hub, which I'll talk about here in a bit, where you can record interview. If you're nervous, you can record the interview, and we can review it virtually. Of course, right now, because of the COVID, there's not a lot of on-campus recruiting, but under normal circumstances, we do have campus interviews, and we're working right now to bring some virtual and on-campus recruiting for various industries that you'll be able to participate in. LinkedIn profiles and reviews, you can get connected with companies. One thing that I think where some students are having trouble with, when they talk about a LinkedIn or don't know how to use a LinkedIn, here's the thing, we live in a virtual digital world right now, and if you don't have a strong virtual presence or your name's not out there, nobody really knows who you are. And so if you've heard that old saying that it's all about who you know to get hired, that's completely true. Networking through LinkedIn is one of the best ways to find jobs. In October, we have Luke Murray with Senior Recruiting Manager for Waste Management, will helping us to do a presentation on LinkedIn. So we're going to encourage students to join us on that. One thing that a lot of students don't know is that there's free professional attire. I mean, we could get you signed up. I've seen students attend these attire settings, and they come back with 2 or 3 new suits, ready to go for the interview. Another thing that we do, and which is really important, is the cover letter and resume review. So, going back to my story real quick. So, my buddy that owns the law firm, he's no longer just a lawyer. He was telling me that he hasn't even been in a courtroom in over a year. And that's because, again, he has a team of lawyers now doing that for him. And so I asked him, I said, well, when you're hiring, what do you look for in candidates? And in his own words, he said, well, I'm going to go through resumes and find a candidate that's going to help me get my money back. So, and I completely agree with what he's saying. These employers don't mind paying you, what it is you might be looking for. But some of the biggest things are, what are you going to do for them in return? We review a lot of resumes, and one issue that I've seen with resumes is that resume is not the student. They're using templates and resume builders, and they're putting so much on there that it's truly not them. So they're trying to sell something that they're not. Put down the skills and your abilities and your experiences that represent you. One thing that a lot of resumes lack is a brand. They fail to convey to the hiring managers what they're capable of doing for them. You know, you have to be able to convince the employer that you're going to bring value to them, that by them hiring you, you're going to bring a value to them, and you're going to, like my buddy was saying, get their money back. And so we can help you build a great resume. You know, and resumes are not that simple. We meet a lot of students that have never done a resume. We meet professionals that have been in the industry for a long time but haven't updated their resume in many years. And so, of course, things change. You know, one thing that a great resume is going to do for you, that it's going to grab the attention of employers and recruiters. You know, again, you need that resume that sells your strongest skills and your accomplishments, and shows them that you're going to be a good match for that position or for that project, or whatever the case may be. And most importantly, it gets you that interview. You know, one thing that we see a lot in career services, that students do a resume, but that they forget about the cover letter. And that cover letter is what helps them to review your resume in the first place. You know, it helps you, you know, open that door. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we could discuss about resumes, but you know, we don't want you to be nervous about it. You know, we're professionals. Every single one of us have the experience, you know, to review your resume and help you create a resume that is going to sell your brand, no one else's. We have industry focused career fairs. You know, we normally have an engineering career fair where we have you know, engineering companies come to the career fairs and, you know, offer internships. Recently we just had NASA offer 14 internships to our students, which was great. We were so happy with that. And NASA's coming back for another event, so I'm going to show you here in a few minutes where you can see that event. But also business, visual and performing arts. Now, because of the COVID, things have changed. Things are changing every day. You know, the platform has changed. There's been a lot of changes, but one thing that we're going to keep doing is try to find those opportunities for you, whether that's going to be in a industry focused career fair or an on-campus recruiting event. You know, that's what we do. And so these events, they're from industry experts all over the place. You know, we have the rapid resume review coming up. We have interview events coming up, and these are people from some very large companies that are dedicating their time to share with ACC students. You know, one event, Linda Duffy, who's the engineering manager for British Petroleum, she's doing a resume workshop. You know, British Petroleum is one of the largest oil and gas companies in the entire world. And so she's going to tell students exactly what they need to put on their resume to get hired. And so, in my opinion, I think every engineering student at ACC should attend this. You know, one of the things that I do when I'm doing consulting with students is, you know, say, well, Mr. Rosas, I'm struggling to find work. Okay, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at your Career Hub history. I can see how many times you've logged in, how many events you've attended, whether you have an approved resume or not. And if you're lacking in all of that, that's part of the reason why you're not able to go from point A to point B or advance your career. You know, a lot of companies, depending on your field, are going to require a co-op or an internship. And so, as you can see, we also can help you with that. Co-ops and internships. We do offer positions, or we help find positions for companies to place on Career Hub. But students have to do their part. They really do. You know, they have to log on, create an account for one thing. So that's one thing where we tell students to start from. And then next is the resume. Let's start building a base for you. So that's important, we think. But you know, things like that, it's just the tip of the iceberg. You know, it's just very small things, you know, that make a big difference. So what is Career Hub? So basically, if you've ever heard of, system like Indeed or Monster.com, it's a system that basically connects you to employers. But if you read right there, it also helps you keep track and engage on campus activities. You can schedule meetings with a career specialist like myself, interview practice. I mean, there's all kind of things with Career Hub, which a lot of some of those job board, like Indeed, they lack some of those things. You're going to get one-on-one professional assistance with your career. But mind you, sure, we can help you find a job today, but what we're really trying to do is help you for a lifetime of your career. Because you have to understand, especially for new students that are just starting Houston Community College, they may have nothing to put on their resume as of yet. That resume will grow and evolve with them, ultimately creating the story of them. And so, students and alumni can use Career Hub again to apply for these opportunities. They can keep up to date with all of the events. You can even access it from your cell phone. Nowadays, of course, we offer virtual services, but you can meet with me or a career specialist via WebEx, just like we're talking right now. It's just as good as working face to face. Also, we have the live chat options, where you can talk to a career specialist via live chat. It is what it is. It's live. You can access Career Hub, via My Eagle, which every student has, and so it's very easy to sign in. It's very easy to create an account, update your profile. The work comes in when you're doing a resume, practicing for the interview, but we're here. We're here to help you with all of that. So these are some of our centers. So of course, I'm part of HCC Northwest, which it represents Alief Hayes, Spring Branch, and Katy. But as you can see, we have campuses career service centers all over the place. It does list hours for main campus, but keep in mind that this is when we're open and these are normal operating hours. Of course, some of this is going to change during the COVID-19 right now. But once you create an account, you can always communicate with us via email, phone, all of that you can find online. So and honestly, during normal hours, we do have, certain drop-in hours, what have you. There's been talk about us returning back to campus, and if that's the case, we will require an appointment to meet with a specialist. Again, these slides are kind of more so under normal circumstances, but it's pretty easy. It says here where you can meet a career specialist, how to schedule appointments. It's all there. But let me share, if you don't mind. I'm going to share with you another screen where I can show you Career Hub itself. Give me 1 second here. So there's Career Hub. Trying to switch platforms here, so bear with me. Hey, Armando, can you see my screen or no?
No, we can't see it.
Oh, okay.
I think it went off.
Oh man.
There you go. I think yeah.
Oh,
it's working now.
Now
there you go.
Greece, Armando. So here's Career Hub. So you can see that you have a home page. You can see right here is where you can search for internships and jobs. You can update your public profile. So let's click on that real quick. So when you're updating your profile, so you see this percentage right here that's it's only at 14%. This is kind of a student account, test account that we use. So the more information you update into Career Hub, that percentage is going to continue to grow. But this is where you would add a resume. So you just click resume right there, and then it's going to, well, this test one has one in there already. So, but you could upload new and then grab it from your file, what have you. But here's the main thing I wanted to show you. So you can go to RSVP for events and you can click on, let's say, career fairs. And so for your career fairs, I mean, we have a lot of virtual career fairs coming. A lot of them are not active. You may not be able to see them right now, but you will. So just pay attention to Career Hub. There's going to be, again, several different ones. And of course, since things are virtual, if you attend Northwest, you still will be able to attend like a Central Career Fair or a Northeast Career Fair, or what have you. Let's look at workshops. So you go to workshops, and as you can see there, there's 37 different workshops that you can be a part of. Everything from interviewing, the cover letter, the resume. There's a LinkedIn class, so we just talked about that. Anybody that's interested in becoming an entrepreneur, there's a club for that. How to interview on the phone and so on. And so all you do, look, there's the NASA one I was talking about. It's September the 24th. And so if you're in, mind you, the NASA internship is available not just for engineering students, but they do take business students and computer science students. And so all you have to do is click RSVP, and then you are registered. Simple as that. And we'll know that you're attending. You may even get an email or a phone call from us once you RSVP, so we can prep you for the event, especially when it comes to, let's say, the career fair. It's possible that through the career fairs, you're going to meet several dozen people that you want to network with. And so we want you to be prepared, everything from a good, strong resume to even how you're dressed. A lot of students think that just because a career fair is virtual, they can show up in jeans and a t-shirt. No, we want you're going to be on camera, and you should still present yourself as if you're preparing for a real career fair. And so, these events are so important because we work extremely hard to get these here. For anybody that's struggling with finding a job during this pandemic, there's a presentation there, job hunting among the coronavirus. I mean, we did this presentation a few months back, and it was such a big hit with students, and we got a lot of feedback, and they asked us to do it again. And so this is another presentation that will be with Luke Murray. He's a great guy. He does hiring for all over the United States for waste management, and he will answer any of the questions that you might have. And so, these events, they're so good for our students. They really are. But again, Career Hub is just one platform. One thing that we tell students also is that you can't stop here. There's so many different options, so many different websites, but everything, it doesn't matter whether you're using Career Hub or Indeed, you're gonna need to prepare yourself for that interview by starting with the resume, the cover letter, all of that stuff. And so, new students, they may not understand the system, but we're here, we're available. Again, you can join us by WebEx. If you see here, say schedule an appointment with a career services member. And so not only that, what I like about this tool is it actually has a calendar. So you will be able to keep up with your events and all of your meetings with career services specialists. And so really, going back to what I was telling you about determining your major or your career, here's the question that I have for you. When do you want to start? I have students that come to us and say, hey, I need help with the resume. I'm trying to find a work. I just graduated. But they were in HCC possibly for 2 years, and they never came to us. And so, they're behind the ball. I mean, they're behind the game, basically, so you really need to start as soon as possible. It starts with creating the account. Once you have your account, sky's the limit, because from there, you can attend all of the virtual events, any event, even when we're on campus. You can network, you can speak with us. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. And so keep an eye on Career Hub if you do have an account, and if you don't, get one right away because we have a lot of exciting events for the fall. And so, in fact, as of today, you should be able to start RSVPing for a lot of these events. And so we would be glad to have you. So, well, Armando, if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Yes, Nathan, we have several questions. Oh, so as you showcase, Career Services has a range of services that you could access from resume building all the way to mock interviews to job fairs. So let's get started with those questions. I divided them in three different sectors. We have access to services, service provided, and professional media. And let's start with the access for services. The first question we have, are your services free?
Of course. And you know, it's actually a good question because I think maybe possibly some of the hesitation behind registering for a career hub that there might be a fee. But once you're an HCC student, these services are available to you for free. And I also want to mention that even as an alumni, so you know, right during this pandemic, in some of the resumes I've been reviewing, some of these students graduated years ago, but as long as they're an alumni, they're able to come back to career services, and pretty much as long as you have a career or you're working, it's free to you. You know, the only real difference is between student and alumni status is when you go to Career Hub to register, we will need to verify that you indeed graduated from HCC. It doesn't take long to verify that. Once that's been verified, you again have access to Career Hub. So it may stop temporarily, but you know, it's definitely for free.
That's awesome, and I think students should see it as a return on investment. Think about it, guys. You're going to have a career services department that is going to be holding your hand while you move in your career. So that's pretty awesome. Our next question, and you kind of answer it, but if you want to expand on that, how soon should students sign up for Career Hub and career services?
The moment you start school. You know, that thing is, once you register for classes, it generally takes a few weeks for you to, you know, of course, enroll. And once you start classes, then you'll have access to Career Hub. But the thing is though, because one important thing that we want students to put on their resume is, you know, relevant coursework, projects, all of these things. And so if you help us by keeping up with that, we can help you build your resume and build your profile as you go along. Again, don't come to career services a week before you graduate. You know, you're very behind. You know, we encourage you to build a relationship with your career services specialist and stay in contact with us. And I promise you that we will work with you and work with you and work with you until we get an end result somehow, some way. You know, I had an engineering student the other day, Armando. He's like, Mr. Osis, I'm haven't been able to find anything, and of course he understands we're in the middle of a pandemic. But I looked at his account and I let him know, well, you've only applied for 2 jobs. It takes on average 20 job applications to land an engineering job. And he wasn't aware of that. He was kind of getting down. I was like, no, you've got to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. I've got this report that shows that depending on how many times you've logged into Career Hub is pretty much determines whether you have an approved resume and how successful you use the system. I mean, if you're only logged in a few times versus a student that has logged in a dozen times, naturally the student that's logged in a dozen times to look at the services we offer, take advantage of them since they're free, is going to be the more successful candidate because they're using the tools that have been provided for them.
Thank you for that response. I think that was a great example on when students should start looking for services. It's not a one-time thing. It's a year's thing that you need to work on. Now we're gonna move to services provided, and the first question in regards is the following: are you able to assist with finding a job while I'm in school?
So, of course, that we help students find the opportunities, Armando. Here's the thing, sometimes because it's in the name, career placement services, I can't guarantee anybody a job. Okay,
Yeah.
All I can do is help you prepare for that job. So I do my part by contacting employers. I mean, we're on the phone all day long. We're emailing them. We're networking with them on LinkedIn to find these opportunities. It's up to the student to do their part to actually have a resume and view the jobs and apply for them. I mean, I could go right now, Armando, to some students' accounts, and you'll be surprised how many students have never uploaded a resume or have never viewed a posting. You know, it's one of those situations where if they work at it and work hard, they'll get results, but there are no guarantees. I mean, even in the middle of a pandemic,
Mhm.
there are employers hiring, but you have to determine which ones are hiring. You have, going back to the very beginning of my presentation, you've got to do your research. Um, Once you do your research, you may realize that maybe your industry isn't hiring right now, or maybe they're having a hiring freeze, or maybe they're not going to start hiring until the spring 2021. So once you have that information, then you're able to make decisions as far as what you need to do for a candidate. Maybe you need to use some of those transferable skills and use them to apply for a different industry, or maybe we need to recraft your resume tailored to another job because it's not working for the job you're trying to apply for now. So there's all kind of things that need to be done, and that's what I was saying earlier. That these resumes evolve. They're living documents. They're going to continue to evolve with the student, with the economy. I mean, ask anybody that's worked for oil and gas and how up and down that industry is. They've had to revise their resume several times once they graduated school. So it's always not it's ongoing. Put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys are a great support system for our students, and that's something they need to see as well. You could help students find jobs, but that doesn't mean they're going to get it immediately. It all depends on what you have to offer to the employer as well. But that's a great response. Thank you so much. Let's go to our next question. Do you all assist with finding internships?
So I just mentioned that there are internships available. So if you go back up to what I was looking right here, you see this for NASA. NASA, I mean, you're talking NASA. NASA's coming to Houston Community College on September 24th. It's going to be a virtual presentation from 1 to 2 p.m. And so if you're interested in an internship, there's one right there. And like I said, last semester, they gave 14 internships out to students. 14. The Aerospace Scholars Program works directly with community colleges, and so there's opportunities. Not too long ago, I found a virtual internship for Fox News, and they were hiring business students, finance students, accounting students. I mean, you name it. But here's the thing: if I was able to find that online, and mind you, I did send that opportunity to a lot of the students I had recently done their resumes for. But if I can find that opportunity and I'm not even looking for an internship, then students should be able to do the same. They have to be able to put in their work and use every resource. Ask your fellow students. Ask your professors. Talk to members of your church. I mean, that's part of networking. Networking means basically, connecting with anybody and everybody you can possibly think of. Go to LinkedIn. I guarantee you, if you go to LinkedIn and typed in Houston Community College, you'll be amazed. Of course, thousands and thousands of people graduated from Houston Community College, or that's where they started their career. and now they're managers, they're CEOs, they're big. And so, everybody starts somewhere. And that actually goes back, Armando, to that very beginning where I was talking about doing your research. You really should spend time with the career specialist so we can help determine, whether maybe you just need a 1-year certificate, or maybe ACC is just a starting place for you, because maybe the career that you desire to have requires a bachelor's degree or whatever the case may be. So, that's what we're there for. We can answer those questions. We have data on all of that. I've talked to students where, one moment they're coming to HCC to be, I don't know, a nurse, but then the next thing you know, they want to be a teacher or something because they weren't informed completely about that field and about that career path. And so don't wait until you're in the middle of your progressing through your education and then to switch majors. That's, for one thing, that's going to cost you a lot of money, but most importantly, it's going to cost you a lot of time. So
Exactly. So it's a money and time value in there. You were talking about connections and networking, and I think we have a pretty interesting question here. Are you able to assist with finding mentors on those professional fields I'm pursuing?
That goes back to what I was explaining about these workshops. So let's take, for instance, Linda Duffy with British Petroleum. The last time she was on campus, we did right there on Ailey Phase. She did a resume workshop presentation, and that area was packed. It was, I mean, we had students standing on the wall because there was no more seats. At the end of her presentation, which, mind you, is an hour, she stood there and met with every single student that stood in line to speak with her. And right after her presentation, she had to go catch a flight because Linda Duffy travels all over the world. She's got engineering teams all over the world. And so if you're an engineering student or just any student, we encourage anybody to attend. If you didn't attend that workshop, you missed out of an opportunity of meeting someone like that face to face. And we had students tell us that she connected with them on LinkedIn. You just have to ask. And so if you're not showing up to some of these career fairs, I mean, the last engineering career fair we had over 35 employers there. On our resume workshop, we have companies from Shell, from Turner Construction. The last interview event we had Phillips 66 there. I mean, again, these are professionals that would possibly love to mentor you, but you don't show up and you don't ask. So, trust me, we do the part of getting the employers there. A lot of those employers that attended that last career fair, it was 35 times 2 because most of them brought another person, right? So you're talking possibly 70 people you could have connected with and built a relationship with them and possibly gained mentorship with them. But it starts with attending, and it starts with having the accounting career hub.
Exactly. I think that's a great answer, and you're putting the platform for students to start that conversation. And I think many of those professionals are more than willing to assist their students because they see themselves in our students because they were at some point on a college or a university, and they're more than willing to assist and be a mentor of them. So let's go to our next questions. It's in regards of international students. Can the career service departments help international students finding employment because I think there's specific regulations for them, and they need to kind of attract those jobs that don't require a permanent residency?
So one of the best things that an international student can do. I mean, of course, we'd love to work with them. Whether you're an international student or a local student, a student is to us. Okay, we're the opportunities are available to everybody. The thing is, some of these jobs may require, let's say, a sponsorship by that employer. And again, that's up to the candidate to help convince that employer of that sponsorship. I can coach you on it. I can show you what to do. I'll give you an example. We have a lot of students that put on their resumes, required to work in authorized to work in the USA or something like that. I did a resume today that they literally put their entire visa information on the resume. None of that's needed. Don't automatically, have the employer, screen your resume and maybe toss it to the side because they're fearful of hiring an international student. That's not the case at all. There's a lot of major companies that hire international students, but you can gain more information from this through your international student organizations or your office, the international student office. There's websites for that. There's all types of things. I think even on one of these workshops here, there's one about more information on international student finding work. But to answer the question, it's no different than any other student looking for an opportunity. Yeah, I mean we live in a world where opportunities must be fair for all applicants. They can't discriminate against age, race, religion. It's illegal, okay? But the thing is, some companies do require sponsorship, and that's something you have to convince them of. Let them know that, hey, I'm graduating. I've applied for my OPT or my CPT. I'm working on getting my visa. I mean, whatever the case may be. But see, if you're not being informative with these employers or conveying to them that message, then yeah, you're going to struggle finding work. If you remember, I was talking about how a lot of the resumes that I look at, the students, don't do a good job of selling their brand or who they are, and that's part of it. One of the things I mentioned was, convincing the employer that you're able to bring value to them, and so the employer doesn't care if you're, American, international, whatever. All they want to know is what you can do for them. End of story. And if you're not able to put that on paper, that's where the struggle is. Armando, we do a lot of presentations, and recently I was doing presentations for the U of H HCC collaboration, and I've told students, whether you get a $20,000 education from the HCC partnership with U of H, or you go directly to U of H to pay $60,000 for the same degree, mind you, it all comes down to a one-page piece of paper. If you can't do a good resume or can't convey to the employer your skills, your abilities, your talents, it doesn't matter how much you paid for that education. It really doesn't, And this is where you need to visit a career specialist, because that's what we do, basically.
Exactly, and it's something that came to my mind that you were talking about a couple of minutes ago. It's about your friend that is a lawyer. That the first thing he thinks in mind is, who's going to put more money on my pocket? And I feel like that's how you feel as an international student, that there's opportunity. Maybe they're narrower, but if you showcase yourself and show that you have a lot of value for the company, they're not going to mind if you need a sponsorship or not. So thank you for that explanation. The last one for services provided. So I'm a student at HCC and I want to change my career. How do I go about it?
So, we see that a lot as well. Students that are wanting to change their career. I mean, it happens. The thing is, though, you have to find a career that suits you. We just talked about, going back to my story of my lawyer friend, right? So his son, he calls him Sam. He's like, oh, my little Sam is he's so terrible. We're going through babysitters left and right, and he mentioned to me that he would love to see his Sam become a lawyer and help him grow his law firm. But I told him, I said, Eric, your son may not want to be a lawyer. Maybe he wants to be a piano teacher or something, And you know, you don't want him to be in a job that he's miserable at. Look, if you go after the money, you're never going to be happy. That's some advice I'm going to tell everybody listening. If you go after the money, because it's not about the money, you know, like me, and you know, for what I do in career services or anybody in education, we do it because we like servicing others and we like helping other people. You know, I mean, I like to hear the stories when they're like, oh, Mr. Roses, you know, I helped a young lady with her resume a couple weeks ago, and she landed not one, but she landed two interviews. And I immediately shared this message with my supervisor, Ms. Thomas. And, you know, she was excited. I was excited. And we love to hear success stories like that because it shows, number one, that the student listened to the feedback we gave her on her resume. And it proved that employers are hiring. They are giving opportunities, but this student was able to follow the steps that we gave her and sell herself to get those interviews, you know. And there, of course, she's both, they just happened and she's waiting on the feedback, but it's a great start. Whether she gets hired or not, it's wonderful experience for her to get those interviews. And she said she, you know, I practiced with her. We did some mock interviews prior to the interviews, and she said she nailed them. In fact, one of the employers said that she was one of the best interviewees that they had, you know, and I was happy about that because I know I was a part of coaching her for that, you know. And so, yeah, you know, that very first slide I was showing in career services, career exploration is a part of it. Um, we'd love for you to make an appointment with us. We can discuss about all the different careers you could possibly think of. I can show you who's hiring tomorrow, 10 years from now. I can show you how many people they're going to need in each field. I mean, there's all kind of things because again, we want you to be happy with your career choice. And for those that are new students, you know, that's what I was trying to convey earlier, that I take it serious because I know that the student that I'm assisting, that's going to impact them for the next 50 years of their life. And so I want to help them make that right decision. But, you know, a career change, it happens all the time. Now, if I could do a whole nother class about how to change your resume, but whoever is on this presentation and wants a career change, there's a right way and there's a wrong way to convey that on a resume. You know, I'll give you an example, Armando. You know what an objective and summary is, right? You know, most students don't know what the difference is. And so objectives are used for new students and for someone that is in the middle of a career change, not a summary, okay? Because you're able to convey to the employer, look, I was doing this, but now I want to do this, and I'm letting you know. But then also, sometimes the, you know, let's just say the student is accounting and they want to become a nurse, okay? But if their resume has nothing but, let's say, accounting skills, you need to change all that to your nursing skills. So the resume has to be updated. Again, going back to selling yourself to the employer, you need to put on there the skills that they're looking for. You know, I give you one example. I see students put all the time on their resume that they're CPR certified. Okay, that's great, good for you. But if the employer is not asking for you to be CPR certified, take it off your resume. There's no reason for it to be on it. You know, I see a lot of students list like things like bilingual in English or Spanish, bilingual in Arabic, whatever the case may be, okay? If the employer is not looking for an Arabic bilingual candidate, there's no reason to put it on your resume, you know, period. Because you're taking up space that you could replace a skill set that is desired by the employer, and that's how you get the job. So, hope that answers
That's good. Yeah, no, it did, and I think that's eye-opening for all our students. Like, you need to go visit our career services centers around the Houston Community College and talk to one of our career services representatives so they can guide you on that process. Because it's why you're going to change your career, and also how are you going to apply those skills. And if they're not relevant, are you actually want to have that in your resume? So that's something you need to think about. Then our last piece of questions, it's about social media and professional social presence. Our first question, do employers check personal social media?
I can tell you that as a former employer myself, I used to check it all the time. You know, if you're doing things on Facebook, Snapchat that you shouldn't be doing, you shouldn't be posting that on Facebook or Snapchat. They will check. A lot of the bigger companies have the technology. So I would be very careful about what you post on social media or what you say on social media. I mean, you know, I'm not going to get into like politics or nothing like that, but I mean, let's look at President Trump. I mean, he puts things out there so many times that and says things he possibly shouldn't say, and he's losing voter confidence. And so, yeah, I mean, it's people do pay attention to social media, and I would most definitely be careful about what you're placing on a social media platform.
And also, Armando, this is Sharon Thomas, Manager for Career Services at Northwest. I just want to add to that, Nathan talked about, branding yourself. When you go through social media, you are branding yourself.
Yep.
Employers do check your social media page, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything that's out there, they do check that. So when you are on your social media, and if you do have something on there that you do not want employers to see, you might want to change your social media or, kind of some kind of way, take that down or, change the things that are there because they do check it. And matter of fact, I think most managers who hire, they do go back and they do check social media. So remember, you are branding yourself as you use your social media.
Thank you so much, Ara, for that. And yeah, definitely. If your mom won't be proud about it, don't put it on social media. Let me just, we have one last question, and I think it's definitely important to talk about this one. LinkedIn. So can your department help me by building my LinkedIn, and any advice on how to use professional pictures on virtual platforms like LinkedIn?
So one thing about that, again, we do offer workshops about LinkedIn. I just showed one here not too long ago. But that presentation on that LinkedIn presentation that I was referring to, that co-presenter Luke Murray, he loves doing LinkedIn classes, and he discusses things like that, like how to create a LinkedIn profile, what pictures you should put on there. And I connected with him, after the very first presentation, and every day, I kid you not, I get that Luke Murray has connected with another 100 people or another 200 people. I mean, he is connecting with people in massive amounts because people like seeing his profile and they like seeing what he does. Now, from a career services standpoint, most definitely, it's part of our services. You can make an appointment with a career specialist. We can discuss LinkedIn, what your LinkedIn page should look like. What skills should be added. Again, adding to what Ms. Thomas was saying, LinkedIn is, depending what you put on there, is part of your brand. What are you going to sell? Here's the thing, Armando. Some of the best salespeople in the world, the reason why they're successful is because they're confident in their product. Okay. If you're not confident in the product that you're selling to employers, then yeah, make an appointment with a career specialist because it needs to be revised. Everything from your resume to your LinkedIn page. If you feel like you're not, having success with it, or it's not strong enough, or whatever the case may be, yeah, then you lack confidence. And guess what? The employer is going to see that. No doubt about that. That might even come out in an interview. And so, going back, and I'll finish with this, going back to the story I started with about, getting hired right after Houston Community College myself, even though I was a recent graduate with a liquor company that was doing $1 million in sales, it's because I just stayed true to who I was. I didn't try to sell something that I wasn't, and that's what the owner liked about it. you know, he didn't, like I said, he didn't want another specs manager. He wanted someone that understood his business. And so that's why I was a good fit for him. But, you know, that's something that all candidates should do. You know, when you're creating profiles and when you're building your resume, when you're starting your career, whatever the case may be, ultimately you need to decide what kind of person you're going to be, what kind of person you want to be, and then share that with the employer. You know, have a discussion with it, you know, LinkedIn or whatever. Imagine going to our career fair. The last engineering career fair we had was had over 600 students attend. So how is it that an employer is going to remember those handful of students out of the 600? It's those students that made that first lasting impression. You know, they came up, they were sharp, they were confident, they had a good handshake, they looked professional, and they were able to show to the employer or convince the employer in a 5-minute conversation that if you hire me, I'm going to bring value to your company and I'm going to make it work and we're going to be successful. And we had a lot of students that got phone calls and interviews and jobs after that career fair. So yeah, it's a part of it. It can most definitely help you with LinkedIn.
Well, thank you so much, Nathan. Your presentation and answers have provided a lot of clarity to our students in a bunch of topics about career services. We appreciate and deeply thank you for all what you do for our students. Also, I'd like to thank all our students that joined us today. You have a great semester, and we'll be emailing you today's presentation. Also, we're going to upload the presentation to our YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you so much for having us. And anytime you would like for us to present again, we'd love to be a part of it. And for all the students out there, if they're wanting to create an account or make an appointment with the Career Help Specialist, you know, again, my name's Nathan Rosas. You can email me and or call me. It's all of their information is on the Career ACC website. So I'd love to talk to you.
Thank you again, Nathan, and thank you, Ms. Thomas, for being on the presentation.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.